Hi everyone, Assalamualaikum. My name is Scarlettine Dumdum Ibanez and my metric number is U62300002 and I'm from Bon 12. So now I'm going to explain about blood clotting process of blood coagulation. Hemostasis is preserved through a complex coagulation mechanism involving platelets, blood vessels, and coagulation factors. The process of generating a blood clot to stop blood leakage when a blood artery is injured and lysing the clot after the injury has been repaired is known as hemostasis. Coagulation can be simplified into 4 stages, each of which can be understood fundamentally. So here's the hemostasis occurs as follows. Stage 1. Vascular spasm occur. Smooth muscle contracts causing vasoconstriction. So, vasoconstriction, which results in blood vessel spasm, is the first reaction to damage to blood vessels. Before clotting can happen, blood loss is reduced because the spasm restricts the blood channel. An additional cause of vascular spasm is direct damage to the smooth muscle cells. Other causes include activation of local pain receptors and serotonin release from anchoring platelets. Stage 2. Platelet plug forms. Injury to lining of vessel exposes collagen fibers. Platelets adhere. Platelets release chemicals that make nearby platelets sticky. Platelet plug forms. So, when an intact endothelium rejects platelets, the platelets become sticky and adhere to the site of damage caused by a ruptured vessel's exposed collagen fibers. In addition to the vascular spasm and bringing additional platelets to the area around compounds released by anchored platelets, platelet plugs develop when platelets accumulate. So, here in stage 3, coagulation events occur. Clotting factors present in plasma and released by injured tissue cells interact with calcium ions to form thrombin, the enzyme that catalyzes joining of fibrinogen molecules in plasma to fibrin. Fibrin forms a mesh that traps red blood cells and platelets, forming the clot. So, at the same time, the wanted tissues release tissue factor which interacts with platelet factor 3, a phospholipid that covers the surface of the platelets. This combination forms an activator that leads to the synthesis of the enzyme thrombin by interacting with other clotting factors and calcium ions which are necessary for many steps in the clotting process. Afterwards, soluble fibrinogen proteins are joined by thrombin to form long, hair-like molecules of insoluble fibrin. The foundation of the clot is made up of fibrin, which creates a meshwork that traps red blood cells. Within an hour, the clot starts to recede, drawing the blood vessels' various edges closer together and extracting serum plasma without the clotting proteins from the mass. Clotting time is usually 3 to 6 minutes. Generally, the factors that trigger elements are quickly deactivated to stop the clotting cascade from spreading once it has begun. After some time, the clot dissolves and the endothelium regenerates. When the clotting cascade's mechanisms were comprehended, it became evident that applying pressure or covering the wound with sterile gauze would speed up the clotting process. In addition to breaking cells and enhancing the local release of tissue factor, the pressure of the gauze creates a rough surface for platelets to attach to. Stage 4, the last stage, is fibrinolysis, process of removing the clot formed by activation of hemostatic pathways, either in physiological response to vascular trauma or in pathological thrombosis. So here is, after vascular damage and healing, the fibrin clot is broken down into fibrin degradation products by the process of fibrinolysis.